I've been online ever since I can remember there being an internet, starting in the early 90s, at least as far as I was concerned. And I enjoyed it immensely. It changed my life, and I knew it changed my life the very moment I sent my first email, which nowadays is commonplace. It's routine. Not a big deal. We can do this. But back then, the internet was amazing. It was something that the world had never seen before, and then the options seemed limitless, despite being incredibly limited back in the day. I mean, I remember getting excited because you could run certain utilities, like being able to check when someone was online. You would effectively finger them. There was a thing where you could finger a soda machine at some other random university on the planet. That was exciting. There wasn't a lot to do online, so you had to go with what you could find. Not just good, I thought it was spectacular. The internet certainly changed my life, and I'm definitely not a digital native. And one of the first things that I got addicted to, I mean, beyond the internet and being online, I mean, that's one thing. Oh, cool, I'm using a computer, I'm connected to a greater network, okay. But the thing that drove my addiction to the internet, and what drove me even deeper, and what effectively pushed me on the path to what happened to be my career, what got me further interested in writing and discovering how technology could transform experiences and lives and careers. It was a bulletin board, a BBS, not one that you dialed into with a modem necessarily, or at least not directly. It was one that you used to use Telnet to get to, Issaquah. I was on Issaquah back in the day, and that may not mean much to many people, but to get to Issaquah, you would basically connect to it from your remote machine, and up to 200 some odd people could be online at any given time, just 200, 400, whatever. There was a limit of how many people could be online at the same time to communicate with each other in real time. Forget email, right? And yeah, we had phone on VMS and talk on pretty much every system that we had access to. That was real-time chat, but real-time chat with up to 200 different people. It was mind-blowing. It was incredible. Here I am sitting inside a computer lab, right? Well, maybe not right now, but back in the day, and I was chatting. This is before IRC. Chatting before AOL Instant Messenger, ICQ, any of that stuff. Chatting in real time with people. It was a whole new world that was open to me. Because up until that point, I knew nothing like it. We didn't know anything like it. And this was my early years in college, right? Where I wasn't even sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. Well, honestly, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But I just relished that idea to be able to communicate in real time with any amount of people that might be connected to the same system. I was probably chatting about Star Wars, yes. That's how I first discovered that Yak Face was a vintage figure, before we knew it as vintage and before the modern figures rolled out in the mid-90s. So I feel that I had an opportunity that very few people had. It came along at the right time. I was in the right place. I know now that we take these things for granted. And Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, right? These are amazing platforms, like world-changing platforms, paradigm-shifting platforms. But at the heart of all of them, it's people. Yes, we have bots. I love the bots as much as anybody else loves the bots. But people, that's what drove my interest in technology. Not the technology. Didn't care. Didn't care about the hardware. People. I wanted to connect with other people. I always longed to connect with other people. And this is one thing that I wanted to talk about today, a bit of advice to everybody. I understand you're staring at a screen right now. You're looking at a screen, wherever that screen happens to be. No idea, no clue, don't care. Because you're listening to me. You are hearing me. You're hearing what I'm laying down. And people have the propensity to not see people on the other side of the screen as people. Whether we're creators, streamers, whatever, when you're staring at that screen, do you see a person? And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the person you're communicating with, because let's face it, you're probably communicating with people on a daily basis. Regular basis, certainly. Maybe not. Maybe you choose not to communicate with anybody, right? You want to be passive. Fine. I have no problem with that. But when it comes to interacting with people, understand we are not technology. You are using technology to connect with us, okay? Whether we're talking about us as creators, streamers, or us as people who are just on the other side of your screen. People forget when they use technology to communicate with other people that they're not communicating with technology. They're communicating with people. They're interacting with people using technology. Technology is merely the gateway to connect with other people. So I implore you, stop treating people like robots. Stop treating people like they are a microwave. Stop treating people like they are only there, they only exist to serve you and to be at your beck and call. That's the point I'm driving home here. Why did I say microwave, right? Why did I say that? Well, because you go up to a microwave and you say, all right, I need to reheat something, or I'm going to press a button, then I'm good. Okay, do your thing. It's done, great. Okay, got exactly what I needed. Yay! People don't work that way. And I can't tell you how irritating it is to see over and over and over again so many people who I believe are well-intentioned treating other people like they're robots, like they're automatons, like they exist online specifically and solely for the reason that you might need them to exist. That's not how it works. Stop trying to interact with people and treating them like they're technology. If you're interacting with a robot, okay, fine, it's a robot. Who cares? If you're interacting with AI, fine, who cares? It's AI, right? Artificial intelligence. But if you're interacting with people, treat them like people. Know that they're people. Because if you don't understand that, you're not quite on the same playing field here. People are people. They're not robots. And I understand you want the internet on your terms, but people aren't going to exist on your terms. They're people, right? And I see this happen all the time with subscribers or followers or whatever. Like, you know, especially for people that might have a great amount of notoriety. I'm not one of them, obviously. But certainly in those situations, when those people do something that's not to your liking, well, remember, they're people, okay? So I'm not even going to go as far as to say don't tell them anything you wouldn't tell them to their face, because you may do that. But respect the fact that they're a person. And interacting with them as though they were an automaton is just, it reflects very poorly on the person that is expecting that the person they're communicating with is an automaton. They're not. People aren't robots, at least not yet. I mean, the cybernetic thing may happen at some point in the future. I mean, who knows what's going to have Brave New World? But I see it happen over and over again. It's an immense amount of selfishness, unintended selfishness, unintended, the word's right on the tip of my tongue. Pompousness? It's a bit pompous. It's a bit, overreaching. It is entitlement. That was the word. To expect that anybody else that you're communicating with on the internet, despite you liking what they do, despite you never having met them in real life, it's somewhat weird to expect that they are there to make you happy. Now, let me go ahead and take a sidestep here. Again, I'm saying this is, I believe it's unintended. I'm not saying, I hope no one's doing this on purpose. It's unintended. And it could very well be that you haven't really thought it through, potentially, or other people haven't thought it through because they're interacting with a screen. They're interacting with a slab of plastic and glass. This piece of technology, this hardware, right? Right? It's hardware. Really? You stepped out of line? You have made me very unhappy. I don't like you anymore. You know you're talking to someone, right? Another human being that has thoughts and feelings and emotions. You're not just interacting with the screen. You're interacting with the person on the other side of the screen. Remember that. I implore you. And for anybody who does remember that you are interacting with other people, legitimate other people, unless, of course, again, they're bots, they're robots, AI, I'm not talking about that. Some people may need a reminder. Many people, according to my feed, need a reminder. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Twitter's a great place to tell the world what you're thinking before you've had a chance to think about it. We have become so desensitized to our own humanity that we tend to forget it when we're interacting with other humans by way of technology. I implore you to remember that there's another person sitting on the other side of your screen in these moments. And maybe you don't need this advice. Great. You're ahead of the game. We're on the same playing field. Is that a thing? Is that it? I'm trying to do a sports metaphor. Not very good at the sports thing, obviously. I will stay away from the sports thing. So I might be streaming this live on Twitch. I might be uploading the clip to YouTube. I might be doing something right now on the other side of your screen. But I'm very much real. Treat me as such. And I ask you that you treat others as such. Because the moment you stop thinking about another person being on the other side of the screen is the moment that you're kind of losing the script. Even if they don't present themselves well or accurately, or what they write or how they are is representative of who they are, they're still another person. And they do not, I don't care who they are, I don't care how close to them you think you are, especially in a creator type of relationship or a celebrity type of relationship, they're still another person with their own thoughts and feelings and motivations and direction. Don't hold them responsible for how you feel, because that's how you feel. You're responsible for how you act upon that. You're responsible for how you treat others online, and in real life too, by the way. But online, certainly, because there's no response mechanism. Because it's easy to type in a very rude comment. You know, it's very easy to get overtaken by emotions. I'm guilty of that, no doubt. But when that happens, that's all the more reason to remember your humanity and the humanity of the person on the other side of the screen. So they may not be doing something that you enjoy. Fine, okay. Do you really need to tell them? Do you? Do they really need to know? What's that gonna prove? What's that gonna do? And I'm not talking about someone you're a friend of, right? I'm not talking about someone you're in a relationship with. You're just a random person. Any person. Me, maybe, right? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind the next time you go to interact with someone online. Woo. I've got to glue this together. I 3D printed the grab charge from Mandalorian tonight. Well, it turned out really nice. I picked the perfect filament color for that. Whoa! Kind of cool. Aveline French, I think, dovetails it perfectly. We can't control people. We can only control our thoughts and actions. Precisely. So just remember, there's another person on the other side. So before you think they're not going to read what you write or to take what you say to heart, think twice. You're not interacting with a screen. You're not interacting with an inanimate object. You're interacting with another human being. And it's been that way ever since I interacted with my first human, which sounds really sterile. Ever since my first experience in real-time communications with other people in the very early 90s. I figured that out very fast. Wow. I am connecting with people, but we've taken it for granted. We're surrounded by apps and platforms that are optimized for our likes. People aren't an algorithm. Okay? They're not a microwave. Okay? Hey, man, if this is resonating with you, awesome. Maybe it isn't. All the more reason to remind you that I'm a human and my wants, needs, and desires are different from yours, and sometimes those wants, needs, and desires intersect, and many times they won't. That's not a bad thing. That's just a human-to-human thing. Keep in mind, we're on the other side of the screen. There's an animate object, a conscious object. I've just objectified myself. There's a person, a living, breathing person on the other side of that inanimate screen. Remember that. And maybe there's someone in your life that doesn't remember that, and they need a reminder. Feel free to send this video along. I'll shake them up. I feel I've been pretty direct about this. That tends to be my methodology. But tell me where I'm wrong. Am I wrong? You're not interacting with other human beings, and they don't have independent thoughts and emotions, and they're not controlled by your feed, and they're not there to serve you 110%? Because there's a lot of that that's going around. Talking about people. People. I'm a people. You're a people. Wouldn't you like to be a people too?